Let's start the show.
God. Look at the energy today.
That's probably some of the best football that I've seen Arsenal play in a long time. Wouldn't you agree, Rio?
Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe were just sublime, especially in the first half.
Might as well celebrate this week because Brighton are going to smack you about next weekend. And that's the truth. Ole should be beating Villa. There are no excuses for that.
It's alarm bells straight away. Have we come any further than we were last season, bar a few signings? I said Chelsea were favourites a couple of weeks ago, but after watching them the two probably the best teams in the league for the last 6 months, I can't see past City, man.
Mohamed Salah, like we were saying last week, Rio, is this guy getting the props he deserves, man?
No. We need to do a whole segment, a whole show on Salah.
Sokin. They can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in a room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joe. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. Vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Vibe with Five. Myself, birthday boy, the overrated one, most hated one, Joe Beya. I'm here with...
Look at the energy today. Look at the energy compared to weeks gone by.
No points, Rio Ferdinand. Let's start the show.
God. Did I tell you I'm busy anyway? I need to go.
I've been waiting 7 days for this intro, 7 days.
Oh, man. Seriously.
It's hot.
Imagine being so excited that your team finally wins a game you'd book on holiday. Get a grip, Joel.
Oh, yeah, that's right, guys. I flew out for my birthday. I flew out because we won yesterday. And it's official. We're only 4 points behind Man United with 32 games to go. All right, guys, look. Let's just start it off, innit? First of all, massive shout out to Sokin. They did me well yesterday. I was at the Arsenal game with my dad. Don't know if you guys saw. My old man was happy, man. He couldn't believe it. He stopped going to Arsenal games, him personally, because obviously we ain't been doing well. But yeah, Sokin did really well there. So we had a meeting with him as well, and we've got a few messages and stuff that we're going to be putting across at the end of the show. But are we going to start at Arsenal or...
Start at Arsenal. It's your week.
Start at Arsenal. You want to get out of the way, yeah? It's my week, yeah? All right, cool. I'll take the floor. To be honest with you, yeah, by the time you guys see this, the Matchday 360 video will be out. Make sure you check it out after this. Loads of fun. No, oh my days, bro, we're here, we're here.
Fangirling like crazy.
Arsenal, we were exceptional yesterday. I think anyone with eyes could see that. The first 45 minutes, that's probably some of the best football that I've seen Arsenal play in a long time. Wouldn't you agree, Rio?
Yeah, I thought the first half was like, wow, it was like a throwback. The way Arsenal played, I think it's exciting to see. You saw the young guns blend with the old guys or the more experienced guys like Aubameyang. And I said before the game, didn't I? I said, listen, if Aubameyang scores and he's got an influence on the game, you guys are a different team. And again, he scores the goal. But Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe were just sublime, especially in the first half. Clinical, an assist and a goal each. Got to build around these kids, man. Got to build around them. Got to keep them at the club for starters, and they've got to build around them with the right players and with the right DNA that fits what Arsenal are trying to produce. That first half has got to be the blueprint now for Arsenal going forward. They can't look at anything else, albeit against a very, very poor Spurs team. That's the second time I've watched them properly, or third time this season. And against Palace away, I watched them and they were poor. And then again today in a derby where you feel like there ain't got to be no team talk in these type of games. It's just like, it is the fixture. You know the history. You know what job needs to be done. and they never come out the traps. They never look like they were there with the intensity that's needed in a fixture like this, and they got absolutely steamrolled. There seems to be at Spurs at the moment a real hangover after the saga of the summer with Harry Kane at the club. There's just a complete hangover for him personally, but also the club just seems it's lacking that direction and that belief and the confidence. And they haven't had that lift that you normally get. You normally get a lift when a new manager comes in, and that hasn't really happened. They haven't had that bump. They had a little one at the beginning of the season, the first 3 games, but since then, it's almost like a nosedive. But Arsenal, and you know what? Arsenal were the best celebrators in the league. They celebrate a win better than most teams, man. The way that they celebrate on social media, you, Joe, in the WhatsApp groups with all your mates and everyone, it's nuts.
But you know what, Rio? First of all, yeah, I take my hat off to you because you throw some good Arsenal banner. You really, really do. But unlike Steve, you know where to give it up. You know when to give it up when it comes to Arsenal. I know that you've grown up respecting our team. I know you're not really smiling about it, but you have to. Do you think now Arteta can use this as a momentum to turn things round for us, or what do you reckon?
Go on, Steve. Is it me or Steve?
I asked you, but go on, Steve. You might as well jump in.
You might as well celebrate this week because Brighton are going to smack you about next weekend. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Come back to me right on this moment. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. Right? And I also don't think it was a walloping. You beat Spurs and you beat a poor Spurs. It was a lot closer than I'm reading in the papers today. Spurs had some opportunities.
When was it close?
It wasn't close, Steve.
It was close.
It
was close.
One thing you don't.
The way people are going on.
Steve,
Bro, stop
Steve, one thing you don't do is you don't look at the ratings on a Monday morning in the paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not do that.
That's not what I've done. I watched the game with these two. I watched the game. Man. If Spurs had a better striker than that selfish arsehole Harry Kane, they'd have a chance in that game yesterday. Honestly, the guy's the biggest myth in the world. I don't want to hear nothing about how he's not the sort of player to down tools. Why? Because he's England captain. Behave yourself, right?
But Steve, you've got to remember as well.
Any other player that spits the dummy out and puts in shit performances when they've tried to put a transfer in. If they had a good striker, if they weren't a team that was built around him, because let's be honest, when he was out of the team, when he was having his transfer, Spurs was winning game after game. Now he's come back into the team. He's derailed this team. And he's not even putting a shift in. It wasn't as far as people are suggesting. I'm not saying Spurs should have won the game. You didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, but Steve, you can't sit here and say, oh yeah, it was close. It was not a close game at all. It really wasn't.
It was closer. You didn't hear me say
Spurs. In what way you're just hating? In what way?
Hating. This morning I saw reports talking about, and you've just said it, is this the springboard for Arteta to go and do madness? And there's a crisis going on at Tottenham. Well, for starters, you're both level on points. It's not that crazy, is it?
Bro.
But it's confidence, though. It's confidence. This could be the springboard for. This could be the springboard for a new level of confidence and a new road to some sort of success from where they've been. I don't think this isn't a springboard to trophy laden period. This is definitely it's a step-by-step process, and I think you need sometimes a game, a performance to really jolt the character and the fundamentals that the club's built on within the training ground, and this could be something like that. You need something like it's a big game.
He knows this, Rio.
In North London, in North London, this is a massive game. Spurs, Arsenal. So this is a big moment for them. Albeit, again, like I said, against a team lacking any real confidence.
No, but it doesn't matter because you can only beat who's in front of you. You see what I mean? That's like me saying that when Leeds turn up and you beat them, oh yeah, you know what? They were, of course they were poor, but you can only beat who's in front of you. Same with Newcastle when you played against them. So when I said it wasn't a 4-1 game or whatever last week, shut up, mate. What are you talking about? It's the same thing. We beat them. We beat them fair and square. Harry Kane.
You shouldn't have beat them. All I was saying is I'm seeing such an overreaction to the result today.
Stop it, because it was an amazing 45 minutes, Steve. especially the first 45, outstanding. And also what people forget is the only reason why they scored is before Son got the goal, Saka actually had a cramp. And if we had taken him 5 minutes before, a couple minutes before, that goal doesn't go in. So so that's another thing, to be honest with you. I think the only disappointment.
You know what? Respect to Arsenal and what they've done. Good luck to them. But if I'm a Spurs fan, if I'm part of the Spurs contingent, I am worried, man, because your talisman, who's been there for the last 4, 5, 6 years, has been Harry Kane. And I'll just read you a couple of numbers from his first 5 games played this season. 381 minutes, 0 goals in the Premier League, 0 assists, 6 shots in 5 games, 4 passes in open play that are key passes, dribbles completed 4, 1, 4, and like his touches in the box. I look at his heat map here, right? His heat map is everywhere, but really not in the opposing penalty box. It's ridiculous. Not a guy who we know. It's so far removed from the Harry Kane. Yesterday. Pardon?
Just 5 passes he completed yesterday.
But it's just so far removed from the Harry Kane that we know. This guy's he's proven to everybody that he's an absolute mad marksman. Scores goals. If you just judge him on that, scores goals. He's nowhere near the numbers, nowhere near the input, nowhere near the actual involvements in teams' play at all. It's I don't. Is this the effect? This is what my mindset is. It. You'd love to get him on here and speaking. Is it the effects of the summer in terms of captain in England in the summer, but no one else has really got a hangover who was integral in their team, really? Is it the actual saga of the transfer that's been mentally, also physically draining as well, that's compounded that? Or is it he's just like saying, you know what, this isn't me? And I don't believe that he's that unprofessional to down tools. I don't agree with that narrative at all. I think football players want to play football. They want to be judged. They've got egos. They want it massaged. They want to be the man. And I think he's no different. So I just feel this is just an effect of the actual. He's disheartened. He feels let down, I would imagine. He feels unhappy about having to stay at Spurs right now. And his performances are reflecting that.
100% Rio. First of all, I want to say massive shout out to Jackson for the stats. One of our interns, 5, we bring in the interns as well. So, you can email us. It could be you as well. We're looking for guys on socials and everything. Secondly, Rio, I think you're 100% right. I think it is because, he didn't get the move that he so desired. But I want to ask you, Rio, what would have your behavior been like if you didn't get to leave Leeds? Do you reckon you still would have been the Rio Ferdinand that we saw that went on to Man United to perform very well the following year?
It's hard to say whether you would or you wouldn't, but my intentions would have been to go out there and perform because I'm still, in essence, playing for that move. I'm playing to be successful at the club, but I'm playing to get out as well. That's what your mindset would have been. And I'm sure Harry will be sitting there going, well, it all depends as well, the conversation he's had with Daniel Levy. If that conversation hasn't gone to plan and like give him almost a glimmer of hope in January or the following window, then you could see how he could sink and go, you know what, nothing I do is going to be able to get me to where I want to get to. I want to win trophies. He's further away now than he's ever been to winning trophies at Spurs.
The whole club. Club.
Imagine how disheartening that is. Like he's seeing City, who we'll come on to in a bit, who are super crazy impressive at the weekend against Chelsea. Seeing what they're doing, the potential club that wanted to take him, and where he is right now, getting smashed 3-0 by his arch rivals, Arsenal, in their stadium, and looking way off it.
I think when you're looking at the stats here, Arsenal versus Tottenham, Premier League history, we've got 22 wins, 23 draws, and 14 losses. It shows, man. If anyone knows football, you know what was going to happen. Especially at home, we ain't lost to them since 2019. I don't know why people are surprised. Everyone's all sad. The group chat went all weird and quiet.
Hang on.
Wait,
2019.
Weird and quiet.
That means you beat them once at home.
No, they beat us once at home, like more recent times. come on, listen. It don't matter. Yeah, they could be having the best years of their life, reaching Champions League finals in the last few years.
19 months ago.
4 FA Cups in 8 years, mate. Even at our worst, we're still better than them. So any Spurs fans watching, yeah, remember that. Remember who's your daddy, yeah? Remember that.
Who's your daddy?
How bad must it be to be getting bantered off this?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not here to gloat. We've done a vlog. You know, you have to be humble in, you know what I mean, in your wins, humble in your losses. And before we segue, to United, I want to give a massive shout out to Anthony Joshua, because I saw his interview afterwards, and he lost and he said the right things. And I really hope that he can come back and do a job, because that's our champion right there, man. But we can't take anything away from Usic as well, because that guy is technically...
Usic, you have to give a fantastic champion, and history tells you in the way he was high level. He's a high level technician, high level performer. And AJ come up short, but I love just the honesty and the brutal honesty from AJ. I lost, didn't get the job done. We'll come back and we'll go again. And I think that attitude there is something to kind of hold up and champion. But he didn't perform on the day, man. He didn't look like the Anthony Joshua we know. The game plan, whatever it is you can talk about, but we'll see him again. He'll come again. AJ will definitely come again. Yeah.
Hey, AJ, just don't be taking pictures with them, man, before the fight, man. You can't be letting these men hold the belt and touch it, and you know what I mean? You did that with Ruiz last time. This is war. If they want to touch the belt, tell them sorry, mate. You have to earn it. He needs to stop that. That's jarring me, but we move. Okay, so what are we going to talk about now, guys? What game we're going to analyze next?
I haven't finished on Harry Kane.
Go on then, Steve.
I can't believe you just let him off with a brush off like that.
You're trying to kill him, Steve.
Excusing these performances for him. He's not the sort to down tools, really, because his tools are all over the floor, from what I can see. But no one's talking about it. Why won't anyone talk about it? Literally,
they are talking about it. They are talking about it.
Captain gets special treatment. Alan Shearer, who I think is one of the greatest players to lace up a boot in the Premier League, volleyed Neil Lennon's head off. Oh, it was a bad tackle. England captain gets whatever they want and excused by the entire media. It's not on. Absolutely not on.
You've got a point, because if it was Pogba playing like that, they would have run him out of the club by now.
Pogba's not even said anything close to this, and has been moving like he's been speaking like this.
If it was Pogba, it would be in the world of trouble. The world of trouble there will be around Pogba if it was him saying.
I thought you were going to say they would have put him in the split.
No, listen.
Souness would be outside his house with a placard. That's what would be going on if it was Pogba.
But you know what? I'm sure there was people criticising Harry Kane yesterday before the game and after the game. They were. But it's the energy. The energy is a little bit different, though. I got to say,
it's different in the sense where when it's like, I keep saying a Pogba because we've seen it, innit? Like when it's a Pogba, it's venomous. It's horrible. You know what I mean?
Get him out. We want him out. Get him out. What's he doing here? Send him back home.
When it's Kane, we focus more on the move that he didn't get, and it's a bit more on that side. So yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, you guys also let us know what you think in the comments, but you're right, Steve, to an extent. But we also don't want to
this summer. I think City dodged a bullet by not signing him this summer.
Wait, do you know what though? The difference is between that a little bit. One of the differences, Kane's been consistently brilliant for Spurs. So that gives you a bit of like leeway here and there, I believe, as well.
Yeah. And even if he wasn't great for England, he still banged as well. So
the history shows us that after an international tournament, Kane plays like 2/3 of the minutes he normally plays. He struggles without getting that break in the summer. And I think he was going to struggle again this year, especially we had an injury in the build-up to it. I wouldn't have signed him if I was City this year. But definitely wouldn't have signed him if I was City this year. And I think you'll see a really poor season from him, regardless of whether he sorts whatever out with Tottenham, whether they're going to let him go or he stays or whatever it is. I don't think he sticks around and does anything like what he's done previous seasons.
Right, that's all right for me.
Anyway, let's move on to Man United. Yeah. I know Joel can't wait to get into this.
Completely brushed off.
Listen, last week the comments, mate. I was hated. I was hating last week. You know, what are you talking about, Joe? This is an Arsenal agenda. How can you compare Arteta to Ole? Listen, guys. All I was saying last week is that fans and pundits give Ole special treatment, in my opinion. I think if it was another manager that was performing the way Ole performs, it would have been off with his head. And everyone's talking about progress this, progress that. This is not Manchester Progress United. It's not Manchester Improvement United. I get one thing I did learn from United fans, to be fair. You need to learn how to listen to people, right? And I did understand that the place that Ole has taken you is brilliant in the sense where when you compare it to when some of the managers were there before, there was like a dark cloud. And Ole's been able to take you guys out of it. And I had to understand that and learn that from the Man United fans, which I did. So for those who spoke to me nicely, thank you. For those of you who didn't. And so for me, it's more like, I still think he doesn't have the tools, right, to take you guys to the level that you need. I think what is saving Ole right now is that there's no one better. There's only 2 managers at the moment that are available. Right, and one is Conte, and I don't think he'll stick around long enough for the project. And 2 is Zidane, where even though I think he can handle the superstar players, despite winning all the Champions League trophies, I still don't know what his style of play is. I still don't know what he actually brings to Man United as a team. Now, going back to Ole, right, before I hand over the floor to you guys, this is something I was saying to you, Rio, as well. I still don't know what Man United's style of play is. You know, I don't know what the patterns of players. I don't. If you look at Man City last year and you look at the way they would build up and Cancelo gets the ball, he pushes up, they overload in the midfield area. You can see what they're trying to do. Well, Sterling runs in from behind. With United, I'll say it again. I feel like it's not even it's individual brilliance, man. And when Bruno skies the penalty in the sky, which I don't know why he was taking it and why Ronaldo weren't taking it anyway, which I think is a massive mistake. I don't care who's who, because Rashford was taking it before Bruno came in. Bruno came in and he started taking it, so why can't Ronaldo take it? Doesn't make sense to me. Before he skied it and my man did this as a celebration, yeah, I'm looking at United and I'm thinking you're about to get away with it again and you're going to get found out. That's 3 losses in 4 games for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? Don't care if one's a League Cup game. And you got that pretty record in the Champions League of 7 losses in 11 games. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's busy calling out Rio Ferdinand, yeah, and calling out flipping. Who else was he calling out? Klopp, yeah. And my man's got the easy peasy 1, 2, 3 games, and he's not dealing with it. I don't have an agenda against Ole because Man United and Arsenal. Let's be honest with you. Even though
you've just spoke about him for 17 minutes.
I didn't finish, Steve.
Wait. Easy peasy 1, 2, 3 games has killed me.
Yeah, they're easy for Man United. You should be slapping up that. Your B team is exceptional. And I'm sorry, you didn't perform well. I don't care if you had 27 shots, only 6 were on target. It was dead. It was rubbish. It was dead. Yeah, Donny van der Beek, who, thank you very much for coming on the show. That was his opportunity. Didn't play good. That's why he ended up on the bench again. Rio, I've got to call it as it is, man.
Rio, can I address all this wibble, please?
He's not ready. I don't care if he's a former colleague.
Steve, let Steve take the floor before I come in.
He can have it.
Right. So you mentioned a couple of things there, right? And I was making notes. What I do? You mentioned Zidane and you mentioned individual brilliance. Sorted. Can you give me one game where you saw Real Madrid play under Zidane where you went, wow, that was a tactical masterclass?
Yes. I went to go see Real Madrid in Madrid play against PSG in the Champions League. And I'll tell you what, brilliant stuff. That even Bale was performing. That's how good he was. So yes, I've been to a couple of Madrid games. Even when before COVID in February 2020, I went to go see the the El Clasico. Again, schooled Barcelona. There was no competition. They smacked him 3-1 or something like that. I was there.
What did they do to prevent the opposition scoring? What did they do to create chances? Why was it a tactical masterclass?
Well, first of all, to beat Barcelona, you've got to make sure that you nullify Messi. Now, being able to nullify Messi within itself, you've got to be clever enough to do that. And they were able to do that on a day. And that's what allowed them to get away and to just I think it was 3-1. I can't remember the score, but they nullified Messi and they got around it. That's the main point. You can take your notes as much as you want, mate.
Right, well, what I'm going to do, I don't know the particular games you was talking about. I'm going to go back and watch them. I'm going to
make sure you watch them, especially the one in La Liga, please.
Go on, Steve. What you got, Steve? What you got to rebut what he said?
Right. Anyway, so Zidane was a guy that relied upon the individual brilliance of his players. What was Zidane's style of play with Real Madrid?
You don't win 3 Champions Leagues, bro. Yeah. By just relying on players. You have to have some sort of managerial skills, right? You have to be able to switch things around. When he would bring on Bale and Bale would perform and score whatever, that's tactical right there. Yes, it is.
Utilizing the players at your disposal. Why is it tactical for putting a sub on when he does it, but when Ole does it at halftime against Southampton, it's just individual brilliance of Cavani?
Joe. Cavani's brilliant though. Rio, don't hide behind Steve. You say what you want to say about Ole as well.
Lay it out. Conte's got a style of play. I'll give you that. And Conte is an absolute serial winner. And he was sensational in the Premier League. He was, right? There is no dissing of Conte by me.
No,
I think he's a great manager. I don't want him at United, though. Because I think Manchester United has to stand for something different, personally. Otherwise, why don't we just pick a new team at the start of every window? Do you know what I mean? United has to stand for something. I don't want to be a club that's regurgitating managers every 18 months. I want us to try and emulate what Sir Matt Busby did and what Sir Alex Ferguson did. And is that unlikely? Yes, extremely unlikely. And is it likely that Ole does 25 years? No, it's not, right? If we're being honest with ourselves, he probably
can do 7. He can do 7. He can do 7.
Maybe he does 7. And that'll be brilliant if he manages 7, because he's going to have to win something to get to 7, without a shadow of a doubt. But that doesn't mean you don't strive to be Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson, or try and strive to be the club that facilitates that. I love what the likes of Athletic Bilbao stand for, even though it's a detriment to what they're trying to achieve in the Liga week in, week out. And I want Manchester United to stand for something similar. I want us to stand for being a club that looks at sustainability, looks at trying to bring through our own youth players. I don't want to be a Galactico team. I don't want to be a team like Chelsea that's just rotating through manager after manager after manager after manager. Yes, they've been successful doing that, but there's more to football, watching football, and being a fan than just winning stuff. And there is.
Bro,
and that's
we've
why
got beat by Aston Villa at home 1-0, and we're talking about all this.
And that's fine.
Be real careful with what you're saying, guys.
And I'm gonna wrap this up in a second.
Be real careful, because I'm not in the mood.
Style of play is not relevant. Style of play. People have style of play. Sean Dyche's got a style of play. Bielsa.
At least we know it. At least we know what it is. With Ole, I can't tell you what it is.
Eddie Howe had a style of play. Louis had a style of play. What does style of play mean? United's style of play. I mean, if I could say the best example of Ole ball, or whatever you want to call it, Newcastle last season, when Juan Mata scored, top bins, one-touch football to death. That, for me, is what Ole's trying to achieve. Now, he's not getting it right week in, week out. Granted. That, for me, is what he's trying to achieve. That quick, one-touch, ruthless attacking football. You're not always going to get that, though. You're not always going to get that when teams are coming up against you and making it difficult and denying space and sitting back against you. It's difficult to create space in behind. The pattern play, I don't think, is perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Definitely not.
But just coming out and saying, what's his style of play? Does it matter? Maybe he's adaptable, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
It does matter, Steve. It does matter, because if we don't know, even the players don't know. And if the players don't know, there needs to be something that people reset to. You see, I'm coming from, even in Sunday League football.
Let me just cut in there. With styles of play, as a pundit, my job during the 90 minutes is to look at the game and see what stuff's happening, see if I can see some patterns, see if I can see stuff just repetitive for me to go over and to say, okay, there's things that So we talk about Conte. Conte has a style of football where you see the patterns consistently with the teams that he's had before, when he's played, whether it's Chelsea or the teams, Inter Milan, etc. before that. He has a style of play where you go, oh, that's a Conte team. Same with Diego Simeone, the same with Pep Guardiola, the same with Klopp, now with Tuchel. There's a style of play that is very repetitive that you see. Can those teams be adaptable? Most of them, they can adapt a bit here and there, some more than others. But there have to be patterns sometimes in the game. And my team that I played in, I always refer back to my team when I talk about this because I know that team best. We didn't have absolute patterns, but we had some stuff that you would be that's the foundations of what we do, especially when someone like Carlos Queiroz was there. We done stuff in training that was repetitive. Ole would have been there. Repetitive stuff in training that you saw come out in games, especially when things got difficult. There were your fullback positions.
Can you elaborate on those for us, please?
Pardon?
Is that literally like a play from you to
Listen,
carry?
I'll give you a great example. If the ball ever went into Ruud van Nistelrooy, you had to, or one of the strikers or one of the attacking players, there had to be someone running long and there had to be someone coming short around him. Always. If that didn't happen, he'd be pulling his hair out and he'd be identifying that in training in a week. Third men run. Basic old fundamentals I learned at West Ham. Same thing at Man United was being the same type of thing you have to do. A midfielder running from deep when the ball goes forward, or if the ball's in the right back area or anywhere on the pitch. One of the midfielders, Darren Fletcher, was great at it. Just run between the fullback and the centre half. The game's a bit different now, but there were basics that were done on a regular basis that you would see. There were traits in the teams. We'll get onto City later, but the way City played, there was traits in that team that you saw in Pep's Barcelona team. Do you know what I mean? And what I'm saying is that and I agree with Joe in a sense. With Ole's team, I'm still trying to work out what the traits are in that team. What are the go-to certain fundamentals in that team that makes them click? And up until now, it's always been for me just relying on maybe a Rashford or a Bruno or a Pogba to have that moment. And I know there are phases of plays, but they're not been phases of play that you go, they're consistently always happening. Now, when Pogba gets the ball or Bruno gets the ball, you see some players run and they go long, but it's not really. I don't know. It's not as I don't know. It's not. It doesn't jump out of the pitch or off the screen to me as much as it does with other teams at the moment. And I'd love to know really what those fundamentals that Ole is working on getting. And I'm sure he's got something in mind, and he's probably seeing it here and there, but not as consistently as the others.
Yeah, when you're winning,
there was a goal we scored recently, which got analysed a little bit. I think you guys on BT might have analysed it, which was
the Greenwood one.
Run. I want to say it was a Cavani one, so it might have been the back end of last season. Was it Southampton away last season? No, that was the headers, wasn't it? I can't remember who it was. But there was one where we had some phenomenal third-man run movement into the box, and we absolutely licked up whoever we was playing. And that, for me, is what he's trying to emulate all the time. And I think it's just not perfect. I think that's the issue. I think maybe some pundits are lazy because he doesn't have a fancy German name, because it's not obvious what he's trying to do. They just can't explain it. But I thought the transition from what we played under Jose, which was very much aim for Fellaini and play off him, I thought we transitioned from being that to being a team which played on the floor so much more immediately under Ole. And I think we look to move forward, up, back and throughs, little straightforward things like that. That's what I see when I watch United. And like I said, it's not perfect. I don't think we've even hit top gear anywhere near that yet. But
no, I think there's loads to come from this team, and I think we see glimpses of it. But it's, I think the teams that win the league, you see it consistently. That's the difference.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, maybe.
I have to agree. There's definitely
because McTominay and Fred in midfield aren't a high enough caliber of central midfielder to facilitate.
I don't know. We can dress it up how you want. It doesn't matter. Like you know what I always think as well. Like things like Graham Potter's gone into Brighton. He's got players playing a particular way that I would never imagine that they could play. Some players,
yeah, that's fair.
In style of football, certain players playing out and stuff. You think I didn't think they'd be able to do that.
Yeah,
the coach has gone in there and dictated and demanded, and they've reacted to it. But I think Ole's got an idea of what he wants, but it just isn't coming to fruition consistently enough yet.
But I think
it's easier for Brighton to implement.
That's where he lacks, Steve. I think that's where he lacks, because if you look at Ranieri's team when Leicester won, you could see what it is that they're trying to do. When you look at the Klopp team,
Ranieri and Potter both have probably twice as much training ground time to work on pattern play than we do, because we've got.
I give you that. I give you that, but I think Ole, when you look at it from a time, he's had enough time this way to implement it as well.
Maybe.
You know?
You look at the turnover of players because he's had to get rid of some absolute shite from when he came into United. He's completely transformed the 11. You can't simultaneously transform an 11 and work on stuff for 3 years because the same 11 doesn't exist.
Again, excuses all day long for Ole.
Excuses, it's
I'm
fine.
not having it. I'm not having it.
So United's lineup originally when he came in was Valencia and Young at fullback. It was Smalling and Jones initially at centre half. The midfield was Matic, Herrera, and Pogba was the number 10. And on the wings, you probably had nobody off the right.
But this is what I said last week. This is what I said last week, Steve. This is what I said last week. Now's not the time to judge Ole. End of this season, judgment day, because it's his team. It's his squad he's built. He walked into a squad that was a bit probably dysfunctional in many ways, lacking huge amounts of confidence, shattered on the floor. He's built a lot of players up. Luke Shaw has gone from a mouse to a man. So I just think that by the end of this season,
that's a cop out, mate. I don't believe that.
By the end of this season, it's the same. It's the same as someone like Arteta, though. I wouldn't say judge Arteta right now. I'd say by the end of this season, he's had enough players to bring in.
I think people say that, right? Even us Arsenal fans, because you don't want to come out and say that he's not it, right? Do I think Mikel Arteta is going to take us back to the glory days? I want to say that. The safest thing for me to say is we judge him at the end of the season. When you look at Klopp and people go, but Klopp didn't win for 4 years. Klopp's team was completely different. The only superstar they had was Coutinho, and he wasn't even a either. See what I mean? But
Klopp didn't win anything for 4 years. It's also a fact he completely transformed the 11 before he started playing.
He did, but his 11 was not United's 11. You see, at least when Ole came in, you still had players. You still had Pogba. You still had Pogba.
You still got to change it. You still doesn't matter the caliber of player or the superstar name. It doesn't matter the caliber of players.
Change it. You say Pogba only played half the games last season, if that. Pogba wasn't available for us last season.
The caliber of player doesn't matter. Why do you think those managers are being turned off quickly at Chelsea and Barcelona? Because with certain type of players, owners expect particular type of results. You can't be rolling in there.
No.
Yes, of course.
Listen, Abramovich isn't the guy to be judging
half a season in his second season because he had recruitments, and then Chelsea owners said, "Big man, you've got half a season. You did all right last year with no players. Now you've got your players. You got till Christmas, didn't work out. Got into
because the way Chelsea act, doesn't mean that's how everyone should act.
Exactly, Steve. That's the exact point.
I didn't say that. But end of the day, that's why even people like Unai Emery was getting sacked. Sorry, mate. You made a few changes, didn't work, out the door.
But that's what I'm saying. Long term, yeah. If you stick with Unai Emery, he's shown that this guy gets it right more often than not.
Yeah.
The amount of Europa Leagues that this guy's won, when he's been backed, and he's had the confidence of the board, proves that the guy's a high caliber manager. Arsenal, impatient, couldn't wait around, got rid of him, went on to pastures new. My man come back the next season or whatever and wins the Europa League. So what are you talking about? Give the guy time. You might have done that for you lot.
No, but you know what? And the funny thing is, I do kind of hear, but it also depends on the feelings with the players as well, you know. Like
the players are responding.
I could say the same thing about Jose Mourinho, but you guys are adamant that it was not a good atmosphere, correct?
It wasn't though. You could tell that. Luke Shaw was on his knees. He was at war with Pogba.
Yeah, but yours came from the fan base. Ours came from Jose Mourinho.
No, you can't say that it was just for the fan base because he weren't getting on with Aubameyang either.
Maybe Aubameyang needed to go.
Nah, mate, not the way he was playing, mate. Check his records in those seasons. All right, thank you.
But as I was saying, Chelsea are not the place to go to. Yes, Chelsea were correct in getting rid of Frank and bringing Tuchel in. That was an upgrade. And the reason why there was pressure on Frank is because he should have been getting significantly better out of that squad. And for all the people that are just about to start typing, well, United should be
why is it okay for him to get better out of his squad and Ole to not get the best out of your squad?
I literally was answering the question before you asked it me.
All right, go on, mate. Sorry, apologies. Go on.
Ole should be beating Villa. There are no excuses for that. That doesn't mean every time you ball something up, you go.
That's where the alarm bells are for me. If I'm Ole right now, sorry, Steve. If I'm Ole right now, that's where the alarm bells are because you're thinking the way we started this season, is this different from last season? We've had all of the adulation and the focus and the madness of superstardom from Cristiano, Varane, Sancho coming in, the signings that we wanted, the signings that make Man United what they are, yeah? Start the season really well. You get Aston Villa at home. That's one of the ones you tick off, you win. Last season, we were drawing that game, maybe losing. This season, again, game finishes, we lose the game. No matter how you lose it, how you dress it up, we lost the game. It's alarm bells straight away. Have we come any further than where we were last season? Bar a few signings. That's the questions now that will be going around his head, and that's the questions that he's going to have to answer quickly. In one, with the squad, in terms of their mindset and their mentality. Yes, guys, it's a blip, but don't worry, we're back on the bike. We're riding high again. We're going to be flying again and get on another run. Or will it now lead to doubts in the players' minds? Actually, we ain't any better than we was. Jesus. Then that element of doubt slips into any player's mind, don't care what level you are, problems set in. So it's a big, big moment, I think, for Ole and his management staff to really get the guys in that change room and the experienced players there to say, no, this was a blip, didn't go our way this week, but we're going to get back on and don't repeat that type of result again, because that's the type of result that doesn't allow us to win the league or the big trophies.
I want to reiterate.
10 days there. Lose to Young Boys, and like you said, regardless of the circumstances, we lost. That's the fact. Lose to West Ham in the Cup, we might have phoned it in. We might have rotated 11 players, but we lost to West Ham in the Cup. That's the fact. And then we lose to Villa at home. Again, possibly circumstances could have been better. Maybe we should have scored our penalty. Maybe it was offside. Doesn't matter. The result says United lost. And the result means that we've lost 3 games in 10 days. The pressure is on any manager for that. You can't go on a never-ending run and just demand time. And no one's saying that. But I also don't think that I hate this reactionary shit from the fan base. I've seen people very, very seriously say, if United don't win the league, let alone challenge for the league, if we don't win the league or the Champions League, Ole has to go. And you're like, hang on. When did this become?
I don't agree with that.
That's mental. I think it's just because this is what I learned from the audience last week. You are not where you were before, but yet people are looking at City, they're looking at Liverpool, they're looking at Chelsea, and they're holding you to the same standards.
Do you know what, Joel? You are Joel. You're a new age fan. You're one of the new age brigade. And I mean in that, no disrespect. I just mean that you're No. You don't want a manager to get time, no matter what.
No, I do. Listen, let me tell you.
Everything you said the last 2 weeks is against that.
All right, let me tell you the funny thing, Rio. Yeah. After having a week of reflecting after
last week, you should have been off this show, but from the comments, you're lucky to be back here.
Wait. After looking at last week, yeah, I analysed and I said to myself, there's only 2 managers, like I said to you.
The people wanted 5 fan base wanted you gone.
Whatever, I'm still here, mate, and I ain't going nowhere. Listen, when I looked at the 2 managers available, I thought to myself, to be honest with you, they have no choice but to stick with Ole. What Steve said was right. The difference with Frank Lampard or Tuchel was that he was a clear upgrade. And obviously Tuchel, he's here for the long run. He wants a home, you know what I mean? Or whether he does or not, Chelsea don't really care because they'll just rotate you. So, but yet with United, going where they want to go, which is what Steve wants, long term, which we respect. I would love that at Arsenal as well. You have to stick with him at the moment. But it doesn't run away from the original point that I was making, is that you guys don't call him out when he needs to be called out because
all right. So my point against that, yeah, in the only thing, a simple fact of the matter. Has there been improvement since Ole signed for Man United as a manager?
Yes.
Answer that question, yes or no. Just yes or no.
Yes.
There has. What do you want then?
Trophies to go with it.
Arteta's won a trophy. I'd well rather be where
money you spend. But listen, with all that money you're spending at Man United, there has to be. I remember when
end of the season. Judgment, end of the season.
Right, Joel, can I ask you a question, right? Don't interrupt me in this. Let me get my entire flow of this out. So
there is his 10-minute out.
There is a club. And for the last 4 years, just imagine this is a league That's a tough league around the world, right? One of the best leagues in the world. There is a manager at a very big club. Let's say it's Juventus, right? Let's just for argument's sake, say it's Juventus. They have a manager. The manager is a fan favorite. He's brought some legends in. They play gangster football, right? He's not won the league, but he's gone very far in the cups. He's won a couple of the FA Cups. He's got pretty far in Europe, and they've come third and fourth, right? They're challenging for the league. They're just falling at the last hurdle. They've had some injuries. They've had some of that. But he's won 2 cups in 4 years. He's got to some semi-finals, and they play magic football, right? Now, he loses his job. And then they bring in another guy, and immediately that guy comes 11th with them. In modern football, he probably doesn't survive that season. The next season, he comes second, and you go, do you know what? I think he's got it. The following season, he comes 11th, and then he comes 13th. Would you get rid of that manager?
Yeah, of course.
After being 3rd, 4th, winning right? Cool. That's Sir Alex Ferguson. That's what he did. Mm-hmm. Sir Alex Ferguson transformed the squad, transformed the mentality, and that was coming 13th after being 3rd and 4th.
Well done to United.
First
Respect
4 years.
Him. Respect him. But unfortunately, this is not the same time, Steve.
Why?
You know, my fault. Unfortunately, it's not the same time. You know, because the way the money is spent is different. The way advertisement is different. It all plays a part.
Ferguson was breaking British transfer records in that period and still coming 13th. There was a reason fans had a bedsheet with 30 out.
Which record was it, just out of interest?
He spent like $2.5 million on Gary Pallister. Imagine spending loads of money on a defender. What a mugs game that is, right?
Wins you titles.
He spent mad money on, I think, Mark Hughes, or it might have been Ron Atkinson that brought Mark Hughes in. He spent mad money. He spent a lot of money.
You know what that reason is, though, Steve? Why he got the time? It was definitely because of the times are very different, and the pressure nowadays and all of the focus and attention is like night and day difference.
Yeah, that's true.
It's difficult for the club to really stay with someone if they're finishing 11th and 13th after being at the lofty heights at the top of the league. But I think the most powerful thing in that time, if you speak to the people that were running the club then, is that they saw behind the scenes the foundations that he was putting in place, and it was down to who he was in terms of as a person, the discipline, the belief in youngsters, the history that he was being respectful to, that he was trying to build something for the long term. And that's a lot of the reason why he was given that time as well, because if they didn't see that behind the scenes, that this guy was a strong enough character to deal with this pressure, to deal with the players, to really change and rip the formula up that they had beforehand and do it his way that was respectful to the history. If they hadn't have seen that, he don't stay in that job.
I'm sure Fergie. Fergie.
You had the same thing in. Since Ollie's come in, he's doing what? He's transforming the structure. We've appointed our first director and technical director.
Yeah, but at the same time, Steve, there's still a few things that I just think he's out here getting cussed by Pogba's agent, which I just don't think the club should be allowing. He's out here calling out Rio every other week. He's out here calling out this manager, that manager. I think sometimes, people are hiding behind things, innit? Like,
no, I just think he's improving, and Judgment Day's end of this season is his squad now, and I think he knows that at the end of this season, if he doesn't do what he's meant to do, he's going to be called out 100% by everybody, because I think he's earned that time, and then the end of this season is really where he gets judged. It's his team now, his squad. Listen, we can't just make this too much Man United.
But it needed to be discussed.
Real, before we move on, I've got a question for you. I was watching some goals the other day, and we happened upon the Roma 7-1 game. And I want to know, did we peak in that game? Because that might have been some of the best football I've ever seen. I know we won more trophies the following season.
It was possibly one of the best performances I was ever involved in. I remember that after that game, we beat Roma 7-1. We sat in the change room, and there's a little bit of everyone just exhales, sits down, half your kit off, kit's getting thrown in the middle, and everyone's sitting around. The manager came in and said, listen, guys, shut the door, quiet. Some of you are young, some of you are middle of your career, some of you at the end of your career. But you only really come across a night like tonight once, if you're lucky, twice in your life. That's how good that performance was. So, and I didn't get a performance like that ever again in my career. So, it was like, from a personal point of view, it wasn't my best performance, I wouldn't say. But as a team, a collective, it just clicked, man. And I just remember looking at the Roma players and it was almost like, what the hell is this? because they were a good team then, by the way, Roma. They weren't like no mugs. They were a good Champions League team. And I could remember looking around their team and there was like, wow, there's nothing we can really do here. I went to the City game against Chelsea. Oh, a great atmosphere, but the team create that and the fans feed off of that, so that's what you need. But no, just moving on, I went to Chelsea, to Stamford Bridge for the weekend with BT against City. And I think it was a huge game. The narrative before the game was it was a huge game for Pep, given that they dropped points against Southampton and the no number 9 issue, missing out on Harry Kane. They're not going to be as strong. They can't sustain a title challenge given that. Are they the same? And they absolutely 1-0 beaten the way that they dealt with this Chelsea team at Stamford Bridge. And I remember Stamford Bridge is a hard place to go, right, at the best of times. It's a hard place to go. And the way that they went about their business was phenomenal. Off the ball, they were unreal. It reminded me of Pep's team in Barcelona. Aggressive, pressing high up the pitch, everybody in tune, leaving space behind, but don't worry about that. We've got Edison sweeping up. And really everyone just in tune with that. And you have to remember, they've left Sterling and Mahrez, they're two probably most influential players over the last couple of years in terms of attacking, on the bench, right? And Foden and Grealish played, who both done well. But the big thing for me is people saying they've not got a number 9. They're up there in all of the things like most shots on target, etc. in the league, most shots, only behind Liverpool, I think, in that stat. But the goals conceded, let me just read a couple of stats for you. They've had 5 clean sheets, I think more than anybody in the league. They've had 1 goal conceded in the game so far this season. Edison's only made 5 saves. 5 saves. If you look at the other teams, like Liverpool, 14 saves Alisson's had to make. 20 saves Chelsea, Mendy's had to make. Man United, 17 saves De Gea's had to make. 5 saves. It's ridiculous what they're doing. And a lot of that is they keep the ball off the other team, yes, with possession, etc. But the way these guys are pressing, and I think the only, not alarm bell, but the only thing that I'd sit there and think that could be a concern for Pep is that they're dominating these games, but they're not converting the chances that they're creating.
But we do question the number 9 thing, because do you know what I think, Rio? I agree with you. I think the only time where it's going to let them down is where it really counts. I saw that a couple of times when they were playing in the final last year, whatever. You do think, man, if they had a number 9, it might have been different. Obviously, Aguero was not being used for whatever reason, you know. I think Torres is very good, but you're going to come up against some really good teams in the latter stages of the Champions League. Yes, it might be Chelsea again, but it's at a different part of the competition. Do you see what I mean? And I think it's risky. It's very risky.
I just think that they've got so much quality and they create that many chances and they've got that many quality in the team that it's not like they don't loft balls in there for a number 9 to finish. They cut the ball back to areas, they get wide and create overloads out wide especially, and then they get a man free in the box. It's like Sterling always on the back post in years gone by, finishing chances on middle of goal. Mahrez the other side doing bits. Grealish has got to add that to his game to up his level in terms of goal involvements. But again, he was probably the main threat of the weekend.
He's scoring.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but he's going to have to. He'll do well to look at what Sterling was doing the last couple of years in terms of positions in the box when the ball's on the other side. That's the only area where I feel he's got improvements to make. But I just feel that the way they played at the weekend, City were like that was the way champions go to a rival and go and say, listen, you think you're at our level, you guys had better start working more. And I think Chelsea looked a little bit like Tuchel said after that they maybe were a bit phased by the occasion. Maybe he changed his style of play. The formation played 2 up front, which I think backfired with them. They didn't play long enough. They tried to keep playing and got caught with the press. But Chelsea, but Man City, Bernardo Silva, who rumoured to have been going elsewhere, we'll have that information this week. But Bernardo Silva was meant to be rumoured to be one they were willing to let go in this window. He was by far the best player on the pitch. He was phenomenal. And I don't know, listen, in this league, in the Premier League, City will dominate every team possession-wise. Every team. It's just, can they finish the chances off? And I said Chelsea were favourites a couple of weeks ago, but after watching them the two probably the best teams in the league for the last 6 months, I can't see past City, man. Seriously, I can't, unless there's some massive injury crisis at the club, because what Pep does there, they dominate people in and out of possession. That's the key. He dominates you with the ball and he dominates you without it. That was so impressive for me sitting there watching it live.
But Rio, you're talking about all of this. They do well when they cut the ball back, etc. They're very dangerous with the forward players that they have. But wouldn't they be more dangerous if they had a killer in the box as well, to be in those right positions as well? Because
I get what you're saying, yeah. But I don't think that Kane would have gone in there as a number 9 up front. I think he would have gone in there as a false 9. I think it would have been someone coming deep, because that's a lot where they get their joy as well. The Kevin De Bruyne, I think it was, or Foden was playing up top, but he creates the overload in midfield. He's not playing up against the centre half so much. He's creating the overload again in midfield. It's a numbers game with Pep. He wants to outnumber the opposition everywhere on the pitch. If the ball's in the middle areas, he wants to outnumber you. The ball's out wide, he wants to outnumber the fullback. So the striker is in a Pep team is never going to be an out-and-out number 9. Just he doesn't play like that. So, and I think Kane is probably better coming towards the ball now than he probably is playing on the shoulder. So I think he would have suited City. I think City would have been.
I don't mean to say that, but sometimes I just think I don't know what he's doing there. But maybe this is what I'm saying. Yeah, if they get Haaland next season, it's a problem. You know, huge problem.
I don't think Haaland. I'll be. If they do, I'm wrong, but I don't think Haaland. They go for Haaland. I've got to be honest. If it's Pep's decision, I don't know if they go for Haaland.
So who do they go for then? Because I don't see Mbappe playing in that team. Obviously, he's looking like he's going to go.
I don't know. I don't know if Haaland. I don't know if Pep sees Haaland as the fit for them. I'm not sure.
Or if he's asked if he's not going to be there after next year.
That's another one as well.
We'll see. Yeah.
On that though, I think you're a bit harsh on City there, saying that they dominated the ball and they didn't create enough with the possession that they had.
Who said that?
They've just gone to their. You.
I didn't say that.
I thought he was a little bit harsh on them.
I didn't say they didn't create. I said that they do create. They create, but it's just the conversion rate of chances is going to be the only issue I think they have.
Right. I still think that's a little harsh. They've just gone to Chelsea, prevented them from having a shot on target at home, and come away with all 3 points. I don't know how you can complain with that.
No. I was talking in the grand scheme of things. I wasn't talking about that game. Okay. I was talking about in general over the course of the season. I think the only concern with Chelsea or City might be is that the amount of chances they're winning, they're creating, and they've dropped points. They're dominating all these teams, but they've still, I think, dropped 5 points, and that'll be a consideration, I think, for the management.
Is Tuchel a flop now because he's not had a shot on target at home and he got his tactics wrong? Is that how it works?
He needs to be sacked by Joel's. By the way,
no. Yeah, you lot are nasty. You know. Do you know why you lot are nasty? Because you're trying to drive an agenda. Yeah. Don't listen to them 5 audience. You lot are moving like babies.
What? He's been there a year, Joel. Why hasn't he got a style of play?
Nasty. You're nasty because you know he's got a style of play. Come on,
he had a perfect squad. He added Lukaku to it. He's bolted up by playing.
To make you feel better, I have nothing wrong against Ole. In fact, he's a nice guy. You know, sticking out the leg, legendary moment. We know about it. I said what I had to say, and we move on. All right, Liverpool. It's not easy, you know, Brentford. I was trying to tell people they are the team at the moment. Give the shout out, Rio. I know you want to give Pinnock a shout out. Do it.
Yeah, Pinnock, Dulwich Hamlet boy. 4 years ago, playing non-league, I think it was, and here he is playing Premier League and scoring against Liverpool, like phenomenal. Yes. Shout out Gavin and Cads, my guys who run Dulwich Hamlet. But yeah, man, listen, it's a carnival atmosphere down there. I can't wait to go down there and watch a game. But I always feel that when I played, I didn't want to play a promoted team in the first 6 to 8 games. Because they're running off mad energy. The fans are still hyped. There's still a carnival down there, and they're a little bit of an unknown quantity still. And I always found it more difficult playing them in the early part of the fixtures. You got them around Christmas or the turn of the year, you normally would deal with them. But again, they're a team. They're a throwback in many ways. 2 up front. Do you know what I mean? The 2 boys up front are mobile. Yeah. They've got guile. They play with each other in terms of like they feed off each other, and they make it hard work. I mean, Van Dijk and Matip, tough game for them at the weekend against them too. And we've seen that before when 2 strikers play up against them, and that was comfortable. But it's great to see, man. A team coming up, playing fearless, using the crowd. It's huge.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Ivan Toney, man, because I just think, like, you know, after you lose at Ollie Watkins, you go, where do you go? What do you do? But my man has just been banging goals. Like, he's just a handle. He's a baller, man, for real. And I feel like they're going to struggle to keep him, man. You know, because
they'll be all right. I like his story.
Say that again.
I said in some of there's plenty of teams that should have signed him. You lot being one of them. Actually, I even mentioned
Take him. I would take him in a heartbeat, man. You know,
I just like his story. He's made of the right stuff. He's got the right character. He's had disappointments. He's had ups. He's been brought back down to earth. He's come back up again, and he's done it the hard way. He's slogged his way to the top by hook or by crook. But it's down to character. It's down to ability as well, and he's got a confidence about him. He looks like he's not overawed by the occasion or by being in the Premier League now. This is the stage that where I'm meant to be at, and I really like the way that him and both the strikers in that team feed off each other. They're really good.
Ramo's doing well. Now, looking at Liverpool very quickly, despite them not winning, obviously the main guy still on the score sheets. You got, you know, Jota. You know, obviously he's just different class. But again, Mohamed Salah, like we were saying last week, Rio, is this guy getting the props he deserves, man?
No. We need to do a whole segment, a whole show on Salah not getting the attention, the time, the talk, the focus which he deserves, because this guy, 100 goals. What's the stat, guys? You got the stats there, haven't you?
It's one of the fastest.
I've got it here. He's the 5th quickest to 100 goals in Premier League history. Like, it's crazy. And the biggest fact of that is he's a wide player. He's a wide striker. He's not an actual out-and-out number 9. Like, ahead of him is Shearer, who his numbers are ridiculous, are crazy. Shout out to Alan Shearer, he's been on the show. Harry Kane next, Sergio Aguero, Thierry Henry, and then Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is an absolute beast. Like, I don't care what anyone says. We need to get him on here and talk, man, because from what I speak to the guys who've been around him, who play with him, who work at the club, he's focused. He's got that mentality, that obsession with football, that obsession with scoring goals and being at the top of the charts, almost to a detriment to some people's eyes. But the guy, man, every game you watch him, he gets at least 1 or 2 opportunities on goal, created by himself or put on a plate for him. And he's a killer. He's an absolute killer. So when you're talking about the best strikers, best attackers in the world, in world football over the last couple of years, Mohamed Salah has to be in the conversation. I don't care.
Where does he rank for Liverpool when you're looking at their forwards?
In the Prem?
In the Prem.
They haven't had a better one.
He's got to be the best.
I've got a feeling that people would still put Suarez ahead of him for some reason.
Fuck Suarez.
Maybe as a player, but when you're looking at cold, hard facts, numbers, winning trophies, he's the best.
No, he is. I hear you.
What did Suarez win?
But the reason
what did Suarez win? What did Torres win? Do you mean that's recent?
I hear you. I'm not debating. I'm saying you have to look at it like some of the fans look at it. Van Nistelrooy, for me, was your coldest, right? He's a stone hard killer. But you said yourself that he only won 1 Prem in 3 years. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas you take someone else, they might put him above Van Nistelrooy, but for me, he was the best. They might say the same thing about Salah and Suarez. Do you see what I mean?
How?
Well, because even though Suarez
at Liverpool, forget what Suarez done at Barcelona, because he's been one of the greatest. But at Liverpool, if you're talking about at Liverpool in the Premier League, there ain't no one rivaling Suarez. Don't care. You can bring me any name. There ain't no one rivaling what he's done.
Yeah. No, you're right.
No one can rival Salah.
I just know a lot of fans that if you gave them the choice out of the 2, they'll say Suarez.
They don't know football. They're watching Sunday football every week. They don't know what they're chatting about. Go and watch Salah and what he does. He dominates and destroys top-level players on a regular basis. He makes the game look easy. He makes football look easy. When a player's doing that at the speed with which he plays, that tells you they're high level. Numbers, trophies don't lie. Salah has it all.
What are we looking at very quickly because we're near the end, guys?
West Ham, late winner, Antonio again, man. He's on fire, by the way. Absolute fire.
Why?
Right back
Why is
top goal scorer in Premier League history for West Ham.
Real form.
Why is he what?
What happened to him? What's he been doing?
He's enjoying his football. He's enjoying his football. Yeah. I think that interview that he did, on Sky, etc. I think it really, he was loved. Players like that, sometimes they want to be loved. He was able to be himself, smile. People like Rio were messaging me, even on, he was like, Rio was like, we need to get him on, man. We need to do something. We need to celebrate him. And he can feel that energy. He can feel that. And he's been able to carry that on, man. He's always been good. But when you're loved and you're wanted, it pushes it to the next level. He can be himself.
Confidence at an all-time high.
David Moyes doing bits.
Yeah, David Moyes has found his home, man. Second home after Everton.
What's his style of play, Joel?
You're going to keep doing that? Do you want me to start calling you out every episode? I will. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can.
Good, man.
Big shout out to David Moyes.
Yeah. Oh, you got a shout out as well. You got a shout out Potter at Brighton. They win tonight. They go top, mate. Don't forget that. They win tonight. They go top. So big shout out there. Dan Ashworth, Potter.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's mad. You know, everyone's looking at the table now.
That's a win. That is a winnable game for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Brighton, they popped the ball about last season. It's not a surprise, by the way. They're converting chances now. Last season, they were pumping teams, but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Put the ball in the back of the net and the way they play, they're a problem.
What's Danny Welbeck saying to you?
Loving it. He's loving it down there. He scored last game, didn't he? So he's a bit of confidence. Loving it down on the coast with Brighton. So long may it continue. Stay fit, stay stay healthy.
They could put a run together here. They've got Crystal Palace tonight.
Don't say it because they got Arsenal next. I know you're going to try it.
I mean, not just because they've got Arsenal. They've got a tougher game after you. They're playing Norwich.
Funny boy. Funny guy.
No, they could win all, right, am I being wrong here? Or could they win all them 3 games?
They could easily win all them 3 games. Joel knows it. It's a fact.
You lot are bitter this year. I've got you rattled, you know. I've got the both of you rattled. I can feel it. You
know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get an Arsenal player on here.
2-0.
I'm going to get an Arsenal player on here so it don't look like we're anti-Arsenal because we did.
Get Ian Wright on the show.
We're not.
I want Wrighty to be backing me.
Wrighty's only coming on air when you lot are winning. So it's going to be a while.
We won. We're only 4 points behind you.
Consistently.
4 points behind.
I don't want one win every other week. Right, he ain't coming on for that. He don't need the heat.
Games. Stop it. You've lost the last 3 games. We've won the last 3 games.
Right, don't want the heat.
There's a pattern. Yeah.
You got a pattern of play now, yeah?
Yeah, we do. Cool, Righty. If you're watching this, come on the show, man.
No, I asked Righty to come on a while ago when you lot were in the doldrums, and he said, "Reed, man, everyone's asking me. I got to just sit back and I understand that it's true. If it was Man United in the same boat, I'd say, calm, cool. I'll come next time. So when you're winning, you're doing well. We'll have Uncle Righty on.
Yeah, please do, man. Guys, are we at the end?
Yeah, man. It's been good. It's been a nice week for you. I love it.
It's been amazing. No, you don't.
I do, man. The last few weeks, you've been as low as a snake's belly, man. You've been low, man. It's nice to see you up.
I know you well enough. You see, you're an elite athlete. You see, elite athletes, yeah.
Oh,
you can say, yeah. Welcome, Smalling. Welcome, Jones. Come. Let me help you. But inside,
fire's burning.
Fire burns. You know what I mean?
My chest is burning. I've got to be honest with you. I'm a depressed man this weekend. So let's move on now. We're done.
Yeah. All right. So what we're actually going to be focusing on when it comes to Sokin Global is your money goals. Now, people are asking, what are money goals? Money goals can be anything, right? If you manage to save 100 quid a month, that's money goals because you've been able to save. If you've been able to save money and buy something that you wanted, an Arsenal shirt, for example, that's money goals for me. We want to get people involved in money goals coming up. So make sure you stay tuned. The link is in the description when it comes to Sokin Global. Thanks again for taking me to the game. Dad loved it. Guys, make sure you watch all of our other videos. And Rio, well done with the Ravel Morrison video as well, the 2-touch. You killed it.
2-touch, there'll be more of them coming soon. But a man of my age, 42 years old, the touch was exquisite.
It was good. It was good. I see Scholes wants some in the comments. Scholes was on your IG. Van Nistelrooy, Declan Rice, I think, as well.
Van Persie.
2-touch. Berber must have been pretty up there.
Yeah, Berber's got a nice touch, but he didn't used to play. He didn't want the smoke. In the change room, when me and Scholes used to play before games, Berber used to sit down and watch and admire.
Are you
so
saying
Berber, if you're watching, if you're watching Berber,
of number one?
What?
Are you claiming the crown of number one?
No, you know what?
You know,
Scholes, I have to be honest. Scholes, the best, yeah.
Okay.
Scholes, the best, but not by much. Me and Scholes used to play. Scholes is not going to play with me every week for years before the day before we go out for a warm up in the change room or in the hallways or wherever we could find a spot. If he's playing against some dusty second division player, he knows levels. There's levels to this. And listen, if I'm honest, enough man will tell you they used to sit down and think, can't get in that, can't play in that, can't play in that level, can't go there and do that in front of everybody.
Who was shockingly bad that you wouldn't have expected to be bad? Like someone like Rooney's really bad at it that you just think, how's that happened?
No, Wazza was never bothered about it. He didn't care about flicks and stuff like that. I can't think he was bad. The problem was no one stood up to play. If we should say, come, someone else play, Scholes is not here today, you get people just going, no.
I want to see that video. You've seen that one, innit?
Yeah, man, put the video in there. We should put the video on. It's sick. But that's what I'm saying. I'm a centre back. I'm a centre back and I'm playing 2-touch and I'm playing at the level of Ronaldo.
If he doesn't come on anyway, you can still put in an example of it. One from Ravel's and obviously the Ronaldo one as well, because that was flipping epic.
But what I'm saying is that I'm playing at the level. I'm playing at the level as a centre back with Ronaldo and Paul Scholes, two of the most technically gifted of their era. That says it all. I shouldn't even have to explain this to you, like what level I'm talking that I'm dancing at. Sorry. Right, we have to leave it at there. 2-touch coming to you soon. Someone else. Lovely seeing you guys. Sokin, thank you very much. Everyone, keep making sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. There's more stuff dropping this week. Love.